quitting doesn't always mean leaving. Sometimes the real quitting happens when you stay and you slowly die inside while pretending that everything is fine. Most people are doing exactly that right now. They're numbing pain, avoiding the hard talks, and calling it commitment. And in the next 10 to 15 minutes or so, I'm going to break down the brutal psychology of why this happens when staying is actually the weak move, and exactly how to know if your relationship is worth fighting for or if you're just scared to walk away. Either way, you're going to get some clarity, okay? If you've ever felt stuck in a relationship that feels more like a cage than a home, this one is going to hit hard, okay? So stick with me, guys. Watch till the end. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Lauren and welcome to Flourish with Lauren. On this channel, as you know, we talk about it all: relationships, human behavior, masculinity, femininity, polarity, psychology, and all of those uncomfortable truths that people would rather scroll past than actually face, okay? So if you're into bold, real, honest conversations that actually challenge how modern relationships actually work, hit subscribe right now, smash that like button, and if you're already feeling this, buckle up and get ready, okay? Comment below. I read every single one, or at least I try to respond to every single one. But tell me right now, have you ever stayed in something way longer than you should have? If you have, I want you to type stuck. All right, let's jump in. Buckle up, guys. We have been conditioned to treat problems like something we need to erase immediately, not understand them, not learn from them, just make the discomfort go away as fast as possible. So when a relationship starts falling apart, what do most people do? They reach for the Band-Aid. And what is that Band-Aid? Let's go to church and pray about it. Let's book a trip and reset. Let's grab some drinks and just forget about it. Let's move on, right? Or in 2026, you doom scroll on TikTok or Instagram side by side in silence while maybe you post some cute couple pics, hoping that the algorithm is going to magically fix your guys' vibe, okay? But it won't. And I'm not saying church is bad. I'm not saying vacations are bad. I am not saying a night out is bad, okay? I'm saying that you're often using those things to avoid the real problem. Prayer without action is just emotional relief. It feels spiritual, yes, but it doesn't force any type of confrontation that needs to happen. A trip, it just changes the scenery that you're in. So you don't actually have to deal with what's waiting at home, okay? But you have to. Of course, it feels better when you're on vacation, right? You're distracted. But the second you unpack the bags at home, everything you've been avoiding is still sitting right there. Same with drinking or just numbing out on your phone. You're not fixing anything. You're creating temporary peace in a situation that actually needs just real, raw honesty, okay? And here's the scary part, right? That couples never want to hear. John Gottman, we all know him. There's research that literally can predict divorce with over 90% accuracy just by watching how couples handle conflict. And one of the biggest killers, stonewalling, exactly the kind of withdrawal and avoidance that we're talking about right now. If you're watching this thinking, damn, that's exactly me, or that's exactly what we do, you're not alone, okay? So keep listening. Now, let me be crystal clear about what is not avoidance. What is not avoidance is sitting down literally face to face with your partner, no phones, no alcohol, no running away, and having the conversation that you have been dodging for months, maybe years, and that is terrifying. It's literally saying to each other, this is how I feel, this is what's not working, this is where I'm at, this is where I'm struggling, and this is what I need, okay? And actually be willing to hear the same thing back to you, right? Even if it bruises your ego, even when it forces you to own your part. That is where real growth happens, not in comfort, ever, not in distractions, not in temporary highs, but in that discomfort, the vulnerability, and the accountability right there. It's both of you opening up instead of defending. You're identifying patterns, you're calling out behaviors, and you're adjusting together. It's beautiful. And then you have to ask the questions that couples chicken out on. Is this something that we can actually fix? Or are we forcing something that is no longer working? Because doing the work isn't one magical conversation. It's consistency. It's so much discipline, and it's literally showing up differently day after day by reading the other person, reading the room. And here's the truth that most people ignore or don't want to hear. Most relationships, they don't die from lack of love. That's not the case. They die because two people are not willing to do the work at the same time. One avoids, one tries, one grows, one resists, and the gap is what is destroying everything. There was a massive review of 74 studies with over 14,000 people, and it found that the demand withdrawal pattern, where one person is pushing to talk while the other one is shutting down or distracts, that is strongly linked to lower satisfaction, less intimacy, and more anxiety over time. Yet, we still pretend that a vacation or a glass of wine or just brushing things under the rug is the real fix, but it's not. Now, here's where people get it completely twisted. They think that staying automatically equals strength, but it doesn't. If you have actually done the hard work, like seriously, months of doing the hard work, had the raw conversations, been extremely vulnerable, taken accountability, seen real behavior change from both sides, and still nothing improves, then staying is not strength. It is fear. Fear of starting over, fear of being alone, fear of admitting that you maybe chose wrong, all of these things, right? Fear of honestly the unknown. So you stay in something that is slowly breaking both of you. That is not commitment. That is avoidance on the deepest level, okay? And then those two people, they hide behind, I made a vow, I can't quit. That sounds pretty noble on the surface, sure. But if there's no compatibility, no polarity, no respect, no love, just slow resentment, you're not honoring that vow. You're protecting your ego. You don't want to be the one who failed, so you stay. And guess who's watching? Your kids. Your kids are watching that dysfunction, that quiet disconnection. And if you're staying for the kids, here's what the data actually shows. Children in high conflict homes, check this out, they face higher rates of anxiety and depression than kids whose parents separate, cleanly, and co-parent with respect. Staying miserable isn't always protecting them. Sometimes it's modeling exactly what unhealthy love looks like, and that is what you're teaching them. You think they're not paying attention to you? They are. Real maturity looks completely different. Real maturity is doing the work first, facing everything head on, communicating clearly, taking full responsibility, actually trying for real over time and time and time and time. Then stepping back and asking this question. Is this relationship actually worth fighting for? Or am I forcing something that is no longer right? If the answer is no, you have the strength to walk away, not emotionally, not impulsively, but from real, honest clarity. What's wrong with that? Honestly, sometimes the most loving and respectful thing you can do is literally let somebody go so they can find the love that they deserve. And so you can too. So before you decide whether to stay or leave, you have to ask yourself this. Have we actually done the work, or have we just been avoiding it in just fancier ways, right? I'm going to give you some real signs that you're still avoiding and not confronting the situation, okay? Number 1, you feel more relief when your partner isn't home than when they walk through the door. Number 2, you have a mental list of everything that they need to change, but you never say it out loud. Number 3, you're staying for the house, the kids, the lifestyle, the friends, but not because you actually like who you two are together anymore. Number 4, you catch yourself literally fantasizing about leaving more than you catch yourself fantasizing about fixing things. That's sunk cost thinking. You've invested years, so you try to convince yourself that you have to stay, even when there's literally every sign out there that is screaming to you otherwise. On the flip side, here's how you know that you've actually done the work and it's working. You've had multiple honest conversations with no distractions. Both of you have owned your part with no excuses. There is total, full accountability on both sides. You've seen real behavior change over weeks and months, not just words and empty promises. You feel closer after the hard talks instead of more distant. And you can actually look at your partner and still say, hey, you know what? Even on these bad days, I still choose this because it's growing us. It's not draining us, and I love you. If that is not your reality, you already know what you've been doing, okay? And look, listen, seriously, I'm not here to tell you to just blow up your life tomorrow. No, I'm here to wake you up. I'm here to tell you that real love requires real work. And sometimes the bravest work is literally admitting to yourself that it's no longer working and being okay with that. Most people, they stay miserable for 2, 3, 4, 5 years before they finally pull the trigger, sometimes 20 years. That is years of quiet quitting while pretending that everything is fine. And shame on you if that is where you're at. You don't have to do that. You can face it now. You can. So guys, if this hit you, good, honestly, because most people, we don't need more advice, okay? We don't. We need more honesty, and it needs to be real, and honesty hurts sometimes, okay? If you are serious about fixing your relationship or figuring out if it's even worth saving, that's where I come in, and you can apply through the link in my bio, okay? If you're ready and really ready to do the work, okay? I say this time and time again. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't hold any clinical license giving me a piece of paper telling me that I could be talking about these things. It's lived experience, and it is coaching. It's brutal, honest, hands-on coaching. And that is what most people need. Again, we don't need more sugarcoating BS anymore. We need more people getting stronger, waking up, doing something about their lives, and actually doing it, not just talking about it. So part 2 is dropping soon, where we're going to go very